Hear that?
Yeah.
It's the sound of the autumn breeze.
Welcome back to Stacked, everyone.
Yeah, welcome everyone to Stacked episode 22.
We were trying to figure out how we're gonna open this episode, and Brandon just said, "Everyone, shh, shh, shh," and they did that. And here we are.
And here we are. Now we're caught up. And then we said, "Welcome everyone to Stacked episode 22." And then Chris explained. We just keep explaining what's happened in the past 2 seconds.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording. Welcome back everybody to Stacked episode 22. A good old Thursday, November 5th. It's gonna be a different day for you guys, but right now we're in the midst of an election.
Oh.
The votes are still counting, and Brandon, I have a little challenge for you.
Oh.
For this podcast, turn off CNN. No election stuff.
Laptop's closed, man. Unless you need notes.
Unless you need your notes.
They're not on my
Okay.
Hey, you'll wake up. I also wake up.
At the end
Are
of
you
this
gonna knock me out?
At the end of this podcast, you'll be able to open your laptop and you'll wake up in a whole new world. Wake up. Why do I keep saying wake up?
It knocked me out while we're recording the podcast.
Well, that's because Stacked is like a dream, Chris.
I guess you could call it that.
Lovely.
It's lovely.
Very nice.
But yeah, so maybe by the end of this podcast, we'll have some sort of live reaction to where our country's going to be. You don't think so?
It's possible.
You said on Twitter either tonight or tomorrow morning. So.
I feel like that's accurate.
You'll at least get like a better idea by the end of the night, supposedly.
It's just, I don't know how many votes are left in a certain place.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we figure that out, we'll know.
The only election I care about is the
one with Matthew Broderick?
podcast election. The one with Matthew Broderick, which is a movie, and that's the podcast, the Stacked podcast that you're listening to right now. Welcome back, everyone. Today, we are talking all about, like we did with the summer episode, one of our very few, we've only done 4 of these. No, one of our first episodes was all about movies that remind us of the summer season. No?
No, yeah. That's
Okay,
right.
yeah. Brandon's trying to throw me off. He's shaking his head like a child. No. I mean, yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, fall movies. Autumn movies. This is an episode about movies. We're past the spooky season. We're into November now. You know, in some places in the nation, I bet it's starting to look like winter. I actually, I called up my mom before I came over here to record today, and I was like, yeah, we're recording fall movies this episode. And she's like, lame. It's already winter in Salt Lake. Why are you doing it now? I'm like, okay, never mind. No, but we're sticking with the plan. So, boys, I want to know, how did you decipher what it means to be a fall movie, Chris?
For me, like, autumn is kind of like the weird like intermission season between summer and winter.
Yeah.
And you know, like with summer you have like that active energy, and with winter you have that kind of like cozy, very festive spirituality kind of feeling going. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so for me, autumn is kind of like this season of like growth and reflection.
Yeah.
I think like that is, you know, how fall is often shown in film, and you know, just like in general is like, you know, like orange leaves falling from the trees, and I don't know, read that allegory however it is you wish, but that's the way I tend to read it. It's kind of like the season of nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
So I kind of like to watch films in this time that are like about reflecting upon something, or like looking back on like a certain time in one's life, mm-hmm. and learning from that. That's kind of how I view autumn seasons. But how about you, Brandon?
Why are you looking?
Did you? I swear.
Did you forget the topic?
No, I know.
You did forget that we were recording today.
Yeah, I did. I bet I was too focused on something.
Well, no, I already know what it is.
Yeah.
How'd you classify a fall movie?
Well, in Arizona, I grew up, and it wasn't really like, we didn't really have fall, because like it was like summer and then it was winter. You know, it was the time when Like the leaves were on the trees in summertime. It was really hot outside. And then suddenly all the leaves fell off the trees and we were like, all right, but they didn't change color or anything. So it was like identity gold, brown, or orange or whatever. It wasn't like the traditional feeling. Like there are certain areas where I live like 100 miles from me that are like that. But like even then it's like it's not your typical like New York or Midwestern fall.
I think Ethan had the most like typical looking autumn, like, you know, growing up in Utah.
Yeah. Salt Lake City was like a weird amalgam of seasons where it was always during that season, it was always the most extreme of that season. Because we lived in a desert, but at the same time we lived in the Rocky Mountains, you know?
Yeah.
So the summers were super hot. Then the fall was very fall-like. You know, the leaves changed color. But it was mostly more fall for like 2 months, and then it was winter, you know? Like my mom's was saying when I told her we were recording this episode. It's already winter there, basically.
There's an extreme version of fall.
An extreme version of fall?
Yeah, because you were like, we got the extreme of both summer and...
Yeah, the extreme... I'd say the extreme version of fall is just where everything's all like... It's still too warm to be winter.
Yeah.
So everything's just kind of gunky around, you know?
But it's also
like,
too cool to be summer.
Yeah. So it, like all that... The winter storms have come, but they don't stay on the ground, so it just turns into mush. And the leaves get everywhere and they get stuck to the ground. It's just like... Ugh.
Well...
So for me, when I classify fall, I'm just like, it's more of a... I don't know. It's more of a sad time for me personally.
Yeah, I think it's a. That's why I said like it's a season of nostalgia, like melancholy and all that.
It's a very melancholic season.
I just feel cozy in the second half of the year. You know,
it is cozy. It is
when
very
it's
cozy.
when it's autumn and winter. I feel
winter.
Autumn and winter.
it's just like cozy. You want to like get inside, or even there are some days where you want to like catch like the autumn winds or the winter breezes.
You want to catch them?
Yeah.
Wait, Mom, the autumn winds are going on outside. No, you just sit out your porch and just watch the wind. Mama, come on, it's an autumn wind. Go, go, go. You sit on your porch for 2 hours watching a leaf blow by. The autumn winds are finally here.
But I guess what I associate it with is like the stereotypical like fall like sense, like the colors of orange and yellows.
Yeah,
I love that. And also like the temperature, it's a little lower than summer, but it's a little higher than what winter would bring. Like not a lot of snow necessarily. It can creep in, but it's mostly about like those
I think like,
August
it's like
through October months.
Yeah, it's like
November.
Generally the most like comfortable weather. Like you're not burning up with sweat, but you're not like freezing with like 8 hoodies on.
Right.
So like I feel like a lot of people tend to like the autumn feeling. And it's also, like you said, it's a sad, nostalgic, but also like growth kind of time.
Did you guys have trouble finding movies?
Honestly, it was a little harder than I thought it would be. I don't know about you guys.
I think just because there was a lot of choices that I wanted on this list.
Yeah.
I took off a couple of obvious ones because I have a feeling they might appear on this episode.
I don't know, man.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think you got any of mine.
Okay.
But we'll see.
I went through like the lists on Google of like what people consider fall movies, and I was like, okay, maybe someone picked those ones, so I left it off. But we'll see. But all right, let's get into the show and how it all works.
Yeah.
So once a week we set our topic or theme and go our separate ways to construct our own 3-film stack. Then after a week, we come back here on the podcast and share our own stacks one film at a time. Then at the end of the show, we will mix and match our 9 films to make the ultimate decision on what quintessential 3-film stack we are checking out at this hypothetical video store. That's how we do it. That's how it works. Here we go. Chris,
woo!
You are first for tonight.
Cool.
Please present your first autumn film.
All right, so my first film is a movie that I think a lot of people that go to film school really like this movie. It's very beloved. I think it is one of the most it is one of the top films in my list of like movies that will make me emotional.
Yeah.
And it's a film from 2009 directed by Mark Webb. It's 500 Days of Summer. Now
what? But
hold on.
What?
I guess because I know what you're going.
The content is about autumn.
Well,
but
okay, I've never seen the film.
Okay,
you're gonna have to really pitch me on this one.
Okay, so the movie follows the characters of Tom and Summer. They are a couple that meet by chance, and the story is told through this non-linear narrative. It's very melancholic because the story actually begins at the end. We know that they don't work out from the very beginning. We know that it doesn't work out, and just like it is. I'm trying to figure out how to put this, but like, although the movie is called 500 Days of Summer, the movie doesn't have anything to do with that season. It's actually a very reflective movie, in quite literally, because we're seeing the film through the eyes of Tom following the breakup. Now, for me, and I think Brand and I, we talked about this briefly, but like 500 Days of Summer is like one of the most like contemporary depictions of modern romantic relationships like I've ever seen, for sure. Like even like little things that don't get covered that often, like things about love, about like inconsistency, miscommunication, anxiety about your significant other, and just like the thing about this movie is like Tom and Summer, like they're so in love with each other, but in such different ways. It feels like they're meant to be, but they have very different expectations of one another and are in very different places in their lives, and that forces them apart eventually. And like, yeah, I mean, like people who have seen this movie, everyone always like talks about who do you align yourself with between Tom and Summer based on their, current state of mind within this relationship, but also is also a debate over who do you feel was quote unquote in the right about the breakup.
Oh, so her name is Summer.
Her name is
and
Summer.
And they dated for 500 days?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And like, so like, I understand why the title might make you think like it's 500 Days of Summer. Even with that, you're like 500 Days of Summer. So like the happiness of summer, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, there were like happy moments, but because we're seeing it in reverse, this is literally him looking back on the summer, which is what happens when you're in autumn. And I don't know, it's just like Tom and Summer, they have such great character arcs. I love seeing like how they grow and change and degrade, and the story of them and Tom coming to terms with himself and Summer realizing who she is and moving forward and stuff like that. I think like it's just such a great piece of like romantic modern dating, like, rhetoric. I don't know, like, and there's this scene at the end in the park that I'm not gonna spoil it, Brandon.
Keep going. What the hell, man?
Brandon is fully sober, just so you guys know.
I actually am.
There's a scene at the end of the film in a park, and there's just something so reflective about that, because he's just sitting there, the leaves are just gently breezing, and he's talking to Summer, and this is them looking back on their relationship, and it's the most autumn feeling I can imagine, just like that sense of reflection. Brandon, you've seen this movie. What do you think about it?
Very melancholic.
Yeah.
A lot of, and so it matches what your definition of fall is. And I mean, for me on the color side, maybe a little bit, but I think there's a moment near the end where it really becomes an autumn movie.
Oh, yeah. I won't spoil that for you.
Yeah.
But everyone who has seen that movie knows exactly what that means.
Is it like Thanksgiving or Halloween?
No, you'll see.
You'll see if you see it.
You'll see.
Does a tree fall down?
No, it's not that big of a deal.
Okay.
But it's a very good movie. Like, the script is quite beautiful. The tone is really awesome. I don't know. I really enjoy the film. I'm not as big of a fan as Chris is, but there's a like ongoing discourse about the movie that's really fascinating. Like, a lot of people who discuss, and I think there's been a common consensus that's been came to by the discussion about who is like the asshole in the relationship. Yeah. And it's pretty obvious when you have a discussion with somebody who's like seen the movie and equally passionate. Yeah. But like it isn't as simple as it appears necessarily.
Yeah. It's that perfect discussion between the person who is a romantic and the person who's a realist. And I think like in a relationship, you're constantly treading the line between those two, because obviously you want to live in that romantic world, but also you have to be a realistic person and realize like maybe this person's not right for you, and like, going forward, see what can change, and maybe you guys can still maintain a relationship, but other things like that might get in the way. And I don't know, I think like Brand said, like the dialogue about this whole dichotomy between Tom and Summer is actually really fascinating, because it says something about how we view relationships, I think.
And you can also kind of like vicariously live through their like the excitement and the stages of what like a relationship is, because obviously a lot of romantic comedies like never get over the honeymoon phase. It's always the honeymoon phase, except when like there's a misunderstanding in like the Dark Night of the Soul movement. But with 500 Days of Summer, like you live through the good times and the bad times. It's kind of like a more fantastical version of Richard Linklater's Before trilogy.
Okay.
And like not saying it's like as realistic or as grounded as that film,
Right.
but like it understands the way relationships works and presents it in a very like sarcastic kind of parodic way, but also understands like the realism behind it and takes it really seriously. So yeah.
Okay. Well, sounds like I gotta check it out then.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
All right. Great first pick. Next to me, my turn.
No.
You want to go?
No, you can go.
Okay.
It's your choice.
It's your choice. Listen, I'm just following the rotation.
Your vote, your choice.
I've been having a pattern these past few weeks. All right. So my first film may seem a little weird when not a conventional film when you think of autumn, but I think this film's setting, like, it's never confirmed to be during autumn, but I'd like to think so it is, like, because of the film's setting and its visuals. And also, this is just a very autumn film for me because every time I've seen this film, it's been in the autumn for school.
Okay.
I've seen this film probably 3 times coming to film school, and it was all during the fall. So it's like, when I think of that film, I just think of the fall semester, you know? It's 1950s Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon.
No, it's a summer movie.
It's a summer movie?
I think so.
I tried to look up online.
Well, I don't know.
I did my research. I looked up online to see what exact season it takes place. It doesn't say. It doesn't say what season.
It's very harsh, though,
Yeah,
the way it
but
looks.
the thing is,
it is raining.
And but it does also
And the
fit
leaves
my
are like-
definition of it. The growth and reflection, melancholic, memory.
I guess if we're taking it
And
at
that-
like either it could take place at fall time or if it just feels
Be
like
the
fall.
theme.
It's a very complex film about truth and like the reality of truth and human nature, and how the film's sort of like a shattered mirror of how we see ourselves in the world, where there's never going to be one sort of way that we can all look at the world. We like, this film's basically trying to say, like, we create our own reality through how we tell stories. Like, I feel like it's always something we discuss in like film classes where like there's never such thing as an objective way to tell a story.
Yeah, it's the whole like fuck the auteur fuck the auteurs, like it's about how you interpret it.
Yeah. And just like that sort of like those inner complexities of the film remind me of the fall season, but also that setting, like that the harsh rainstorms at the Rashomon temple.
Yeah.
And even the forest scenes, like there's like a bunch of leaves everywhere and there's leaves falling. Like I have like shots of the thief and the samurai squaring off with falling leaves, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a very beautiful looking film, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I think it's a fall movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Yeah, what do you guys think? I mean, kind of already discussed it, but any other?
Did we?
I mean,
well,
just
gently.
Just gently, just think it's a film.
I think like your like you choosing Rashomon fits very well with my definition of the themes that are the autumn season. Mm-hmm. Growth, reflection, like I said, and like nostalgia, but like it also builds off all of those like characteristics with a much deeper analysis of our ability to understand and see the world.
Right.
So it's just kind of like, I think the thing that's going to be tricky is like trying to twist this towards like getting it into fit the mold of autumn,
right?
Because it's a movie about like truth and like growth and all that is like linked to the autumn season because of the themes that tend to go along with them. But I mean, I don't know, I guess like if I'm willing to put up 500 Days of Summer, I feel like at the same time I have to give Rashomon the credit for,
I mean, they're basically the same movie, so
I gotta make that letterbox list. Oh my god.
Like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in both of them, if I remember correctly.
Akira Kurosawa directed 500 Days of Summer. Do you guys know that?
Akira Kurosawa's 500 Days of Summer.
Mark Webb's Rashomon.
Ew, if they ever would remake Rashomon, it would be like that.
It'd be so like, it'd be like too ultra modern.
Yeah.
You know, like it'd be set in the middle of New York in Central Park.
Yeah, it'd be about like a mugging or something like that. Awful, horrible thoughts.
I like the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think the three of us love, like, I think we all have very different, like, favorite directors, but I think we're united by, like, a shared love for, like, certain directors. Like, I think we all love Tarantino, we all love Fincher, and I think we all definitely love Kurosawa.
Yeah.
Miyazaki.
Yeah, we all love
Miyazaki.
Yeah. All men.
Hey, we all like Greta Gerwig, right? I think. I do. Well, okay, by the way, Tori's live mixing right now, and she just shook her head at Greta Gerwig.
I like her.
Okay, cool. Brandon?
Rashomon.
Rashomon.
It's a good movie. It's got a different perspective to it, you know? I love that.
Yeah. It's got more than one different perspective.
Got like 5.
Yeah.
Aye.
Okay, moving on.
Brandon?
Brandon?
Rashomon?
Rashomon?
Kurosawa?
What did you put in my water? I need to know.
What the?
There's nothing in your water.
It's the air.
The autumn air?
It's the autumn breeze, dude. Mom, the autumn breeze. Whoa.
Alright, what's your
All right,
movie,
you
Brandon?
fuck. Yeah, present your first film.
My cheeks hurt now. My first
What's that
movie. No, that's not the movie.
My cheeks hurt, bro.
Good Will Hunting by Gus Van Sant.
Double stack. Boom, 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 boom.
Wow.
Dang.
Wow,
a
wow,
good-
wee, wow.
Wow, wow, wee,
Wow,
wow.
wow, wow, wee, wow.
Wow, that's the most epic thing ever.
All right. I can tell you're enthused.
I'm just blown away. You know? What are the
Yeah.
odds?
All right, tell me about it.
Well, you know, it's a
You
school movie.
fucking web-toed fuck. Fucking water dweller ass fucking
Mark Webb toes
Mark
ass.
Webb ass toes ass fucking creature from the Black Lagoon ass fucking
Toes.
toes ass
Two,
fucking
two. Mambo number 5.
two toad from Mario Party Toad
Monica.
Todd from Mario Party.
Monica. I talk about Good Will Hunting.
Is
We're never gonna get through this.
well, color palette wise, it's very like yellow and orange, and it has like the feel of like the transitioning to the seasons if we're looking at the visual elements of the movie. But also if you're looking at like the themes of like loss and putting yourself in like the blame on yourself for like who you are as an individual.
Mhm.
Like Good Will Hunting perfectly fits that melancholic sort of picture we're looking for here.
Mhm.
And not only that, I think it does take place during the fall, like the
does.
changing in the season as like the school season starts in a like Ivy League school,
Mhm.
and you go through Matt Damon's character's like transition to being this cocky asshole,
Yeah.
but is actually like soft in the middle because of how he kind of puts up a barrier about his feelings and about who he
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
and how smart he is.
Brandon, let's do a little role play. You be Robin Williams and I'll be Matt Damon. I don't know, man. I guess I'm kind of smart, but I don't know, man. I'm kind of smart. What can I say? I don't know, man. I do numbers. I do math problems on the ball. Oh, I'm kind of smart.
It's not your fault.
Yeah,
It's not your fault.
Yeah, this is one of the most recent big surprises for me.
Recent.
I think I saw this movie in February, perhaps, maybe a little earlier this year. I don't know. Maybe cat for dog or snake. I don't know. No, but I saw it. I saw it on my laptop. I remember, and my roommates had friends over, and I was trying to watch this movie. Those last 20 minutes, man, let me tell you, I haven't. That's a top 10, top 5 biggest Ethan cries, big baby cries in a movie.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
It's a top 10 Brandon baby cries.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We just let's get a super cut of us both crying. But yeah, it's like the fall elements are there. I read like One Piece talking about how this is a fall movie, and just like I guess Boston in the fall is like the epitome of an American fall. I guess
What you see in
you see that in a lot of East Coast fall movies. Fall,
When Harry Met Sally.
fall is very kind to the East Coast. Let's just say that, you know.
There's a dramatic transition.
Fall is not kind to Utah. It's very murky and gross there. But fall is very kind to the East Coast.
There's no difference in Arizona.
It's just like it's a film where you're just like
Cozy up by the fire.
it cozies up. It's got great drama that'll let you get a good cry out, you know. It's got a beautiful romance, you know.
Torture.
Some may say I have a heart of stone when it comes to romance and kitschy stuff like that, but the romance in this movie, my heart was singing during it. I was like, "Oh my god, two beautiful people."
I saw this film in high school for the first time, and it was the same day I saw About Time for the first time.
Wow,
what an emotional day for you.
What a magical day for you.
I cried twice in a row, and I'm like, "Is this the new normal?" And it wasn't.
Am I just gonna cry every film now? What the hell?
But then I watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was like, nah.
And you started crying.
Megan Fox!
When they're in the elevator scene.
When they're beatboxing.
I just so beautiful.
No, but that was the end of that streak, you know? But it was just a very emotional day, and I was like so surprised that I had found these two realism-based movies that like focused on romance in a real way, focused on grief in a real way. And it worked, you know?
Yeah. I adore this movie too. I think one thing that really stuck with me is like, of course, so much of what you guys said is so powerful in this movie, but like one thing that I think affected me a lot is Ben Affleck's character and his relationship with Robin Williams' character, and like
Ben Affleck and Robin Williams.
They share a scene in this movie that for whatever reason that one.
Oh, I don't remember it.
It's the scene where like he's like, do you remember the scene where what's his name? Why do I keep forgetting? Robin Williams like almost punches him because he makes a joke about his wife or something. Like, do not talk about my wife anymore.
Are you talking about Matt Damon?
No, that was Ben Affleck for sure.
Okay.
No.
Just making sure.
Anyway, one thing I really found powerful about that performance is like Ben Affleck's like his thing about like toxic masculinity. That thing I find that really powerful. And like one thing I find really interesting is like you guys said about like with how Matt Damon's character puts on the facade, quote unquote facade, of the smart, eloquent, and intelligent guy, but he's actually a really soft guy underneath. You know, like that's something that I think resonates as well with Ben Affleck's character about how he puts on that tough guy attitude.
Yeah.
When he's actually like, there's more to him beneath that surface.
We like tough softies here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the big guys.
Like me.
I mean, it's what gives them it's what gives them depth, isn't it? Like it turns them into third dimensional characters. God. And Ron Williams he always steals the show in any movie he's in.
This might be my favorite.
This might be one of my favorite performances by him too.
It's between this and
Doubtfire.
No, it's actually
Flubber.
Dude. Just gonna reach across the table and give him a handshake. No.
Brother. No, that was
Good Morning Vietnam. That's a great Robin Williams. His 90s, late 80s, early 90s is like him transitioning from his manic comedic role to something like where he mixes like his comedy and like his heart.
Yeah.
And that's why I miss him. I remember seeing these movies and being like, wow, this guy's just crazy. Crazy good.
Great actor.
All right. Well, so that was a double stack. My second pick. So Chris, let's go to your second.
All right. So my next film is a 2016 film directed by Kelly Fremon Craig. Greg. It's Edge of 17, starring Hayley Steinfeld.
It's a good movie.
I really love this movie. I think it is a very, very apt like depiction of like modern coming of age narratives that we're seeing especially amongst like young women in high school.
Right.
So yeah, it's a coming of age comedy drama And it follows the character of Nadine Franklin, played by Hayley Steinfeld. And it's literally, the entire film is just her navigating her way through her junior year of high school. And I think the thing that was really special about this movie for me is like, it feels very real for me. Like everything between like her and her friend, her and her sibling, her and the parental figures that around her life, whether it's like the like her and her strained relationship with her mother, her and her like her absentee father, and like the teacher that kind of overtakes that paternal like father figure role. I feel like a lot of the conversations that you see in this film between even just two of the characters, I feel I've had them before, because I had like I've had like conversations with like a teacher at my school that like and we had like almost a father-son relationship, in the sense that he was very much a mentor to me and really like looked after me in school. But I also think like it does a really good job of giving us a mature gaze into the lives of these characters surrounded by such high school bullshit. Because looking back, all of the dumbass like dumb drama shit that happened in high school, it's all bullshit. But the thing is, for those characters and us in that at the time, it was very real to us. And I think it does a great job of immersing us into that narrative, because although we're aware that this is all very much like the high school teen angst bullshit, it's still something that like is very real to them. And because of how well this narrative is portrayed, it's real to us. And it's exploration of like familial and platonic relationships, coping mechanisms with emotional distress. I think those are all themes that relate heavily towards like the steady the steady imminent arrival of adulthood. And kind of going forward from high school, like that's when you start to really become an adult. You start taking care of yourself more and stuff like that. And I think that does a really great job with that. And there's this one character, his name's Irwin Kim. He is the nice guy that's in love with Hayley Steinfeld, but she doesn't feel the same way until the end.
Oh yeah.
And she's in love with this douchebag named Nick Mossman.
Mossman
Irwin is like the wholesome nice guy that should be that everyone should aspire to be. Nick Mossman is a douchebag and doesn't deserve like life. I'm kidding. But
wow.
Or aspire to be an Irwin, not a Nick. That's what I'm saying.
You heard it here.
You heard it here first.
Why do you see yourself as a Nick, Brandon?
No.
I haven't seen this movie.
Okay.
I don't think the marketing was all that well. I don't think it made that much
felt
money.
very like traditional like movie. It didn't feel like something new and exciting.
I didn't go out of the way to see it, but hey, I've heard good things, so maybe I should go back and see it. Brandon,
You should.
Yeah,
because it's a good movie.
Okay.
Also, it came out during the fall time. I remember it was like November or something like that. And the movie is just like really good, I think it takes place in the fall time when like you're transitioning and you're like, I think it's like her senior year, right?
Junior.
It's her junior year?
Yeah.
Well, she's trying to figure out what she wants to do. She's kind of like missed out on the formative years of high school. And in the sense like she's kind of behind socially. And like
she doesn't have very many friends. She has one friend.
Yeah.
That's it.
And so like she spends
What a loser.
What a meanie. You're a Nick, aren't you?
Like she spends most of her time with her at school with her teacher when she goes to lunch.
Woody Harrelson.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, it's a very engaging, melancholic but kind picture, and the way that the trees complement her emotions, it just feels really right,
Wait, this movie came out in 2016.
Yeah.
Yep.
About someone who's on the edge. Wait, are they 17 or are they on the edge?
They're
on the edge of
So they're
17.
6. Okay, so they're a year behind us. Damn it.
That would have been a great.
That would have been
moment.
literally about our age group.
It felt very personal because it came out like right after like I grew up with this, so I felt like it was more relatable almost.
Right.
Yeah.
And like the dialogue was good, the way it captured like teen life. What I hate about some coming of age movies that are PG-13 now is that I don't feel like they capture like what goes on when you're actually a kid, because there are many like where like kids curse, kids drink sometimes.
Yeah. Kids get into like
mischief,
stupid shit.
And like since the 80s it's kind of toned down. Like after Goonies it went downhill in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because like
the coming of age movie went down after
Goonies it went downhill.
Well, the John Hughes and like those kind of movies where kids were basically treated as adults. And then after that, it started to go more into like, like PG kid. Like, yeah, it's cool for kids, but like, it's not really realistic. But
Right.
like Edge of 17, I think they nailed what it means to be a teenager, especially in the modern age.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job.
So
with that, I
much
think.
pressure.
Wow. Okay, well, another Chris film that I gotta check out.
Woohoo.
All right, we already did my second, so Brandon, go on to your number 2.
My number 2 film
My number 2 film. I bet that sounded
Is-
good.
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
I almost thought you said Deadpool.
Dead.
Is it Deadpool?
No,
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Dead Poet Society.
Another Robin Williams.
Yeah, I did not mention it purposefully because I wanted it to be a surprise.
This one was. I almost chose this one too. But
Yeah. I mean, this movie doesn't just take place in autumn. It takes place in winter as well, but for the majority of the
Well,
film...
then it doesn't fucking count. Just kidding. I haven't seen this movie, actually.
You haven't seen Dead Poets?
No, I haven't seen Dead Poets. I just know I just know the scene when they're standing up on the desks. That's all I know.
was like a good scene in the movie,
Yeah.
but like that's not the whole movie. This movie is another
They're
movie.
not just standing there
It's the whole
2
movie.
hours. Hello? Can I get down now? All right, go on. about
I
it.
mean, it's another movie that I think a lot of autumn movies are like school, like like the beginning of school, because that's like when you associate it with. And Dead Poet Society is about this private school where these guys are taught by their professor, who is played by Robin Williams. And I think this is another movie that will melt your heart, Ethan, because
Oh, yeah.
it's emotional. It's realistic about what it means to like go to like somewhere that's conservative when you're necessarily not.
Yeah.
And the
Mhm.
fact that you are learning to be your own person
Mhm.
and not necessarily conforming to the rules around you.
Yeah.
And the way that it relates to autumn is it takes place during that beginning part of the school season. Everything's a little chilly. They're out in the woods a lot, and it's really beautiful how it like mixes with the transcendentalism that you learn about in like junior high and high school about connecting to nature and connecting to art in a weird way. And I know that makes me sound like a hippie, but like that's what the film is really about, is like connecting to your brothers in arms as well as nature. It's pretty cool.
Soldiers?
No,
No.
no, like
Yeah, I know. what
you're
saying.
fine.
I know.
Yeah, I think this is an incredibly beautiful movie. I mean, like, just like seeing how there are all these like people who go to this like hyper elite, hyper conservative, very like academically rigorous school, and like not feeling like like they fit in really. I think that's a very normal feeling for us to have, where like we're immersed into an environment and something about it is just like I just don't feel at home here. And I think it's just like it's a very beautiful and like emotionally gratifying film for you to watch, especially if you're dealing with that kind of thing. I mean, this was directed by Peter Weir,
He's Australian.
He directed Truman Show.
I love Peter Weir. Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm like, we all love that movie, and like this is like just as good, if not maybe I think most people would say it's not as good, but I think it's pretty high up there.
In terms of what?
Quality.
Oh, I thought you were comparing it to something.
As an
Height,
autumn film.
in terms of height, if you like stack the DVDs,
Oh yeah.
say
It's
like
high up there.
the same height,
But
arguably maybe the same casing manufacturer. Okay, this is a bit stupid.
before we move on, I do want to say this. So as a kid, I've always heard about this movie.
Remember when you were a kid?
But yeah, I do remember when I was a kid. But I'm not gonna lie, for years I thought Dead Poet Society was the same movie as School of Rock.
Really?
Because
I always thought it was the same as Good Will Hunting.
I always thought the butterfly effect was the same thing as the Silence of the Lambs.
Could you-
No, that was it.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's all. I just want to share that little story.
Yeah. This is a movie like a lot of other movies, except for Brandon's comparison. Just
Yeah.
completely off base. Not even in the conversation, unless you're going to talk about Silence of the Lambs next.
Is that your autumn film? Your final autumn film?
I mean, it would work now that I'm considering it, but like, no.
So, yes, it is.
All right.
All right,
Is it
we're
back to me,
in
or-
the final round now. So, Chris, take us into your last film.
All right. Well, my final film is a movie that I think was very formative for our class of film people.
Like 500 Days of Summer.
This one even more. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I'll get into the description of why that is in a minute, but it's a 2017 film. We talked about her a minute ago. Tori hates this woman. I'm kidding. She respects her. It's 2017 film directed by Greta Gerwig. It's Lady Bird.
Lady Bird.
So
Woman jump out car.
it is a. That's a great scene.
It's the first.
I love that scene. Great scene.
Such a good scene. Anyway, so this is a coming of age comedy drama following this girl named Christine McPherson, but her nickname and the name everyone calls her by is Lady Bird, played by Saoirse Ronan, and it's set in 2002 and a little bit of 2003, and it follows her throughout her senior year of high school and eventual departure to college. Now, I think most people, the first thing they'll think about with this film is how great the acting is, especially out of Saoirse Ronan and Laurie Metcalf. And the main narrative is really centered around them. They're really brilliant together, and the movie is just all the better whenever they're together. But what this movie's really about, at least for me, is parenting, friendship, and having this kind of pretentious selfishness, but as a result of your devoid sense of self. Mm-hmm. I think Lady Bird has a surprisingly existential story throughout this film where she's trying to figure out who she is and who she wants to be. And I think that's something, and I don't know, those are the kinds of things that we feel when we're moving on from one part of our lives to the other, which is why I think this movie is really special to a lot of us, because it came out in 2017. We go to film school, when we moved away from our homes and came to college, we were dealing with a lot of the same social and personal issues that Lady Bird was going through at the time. And I don't know, I think it's really, really heartbreaking and emotionally resonating for our generation of people. There's a scene in this film towards the end where the mom is circling the airport. Ooh. And Lady Bird delivers a monologue right before they get there. Mm-hmm. And God, that scene is just brutally emotional and sensitive. And I think in much the same way that, in my opinion, every father and son should see Pursuit of Happiness together, I think every daughter and mother should see Lady Bird together. I think they really speak closely to maternal relationships and paternal relationships, and respectively. Yeah, I don't know. I really dig this movie. Ethan, what do you think?
Well, that's funny because my mom saw it with me, and not my daughter. I mean, my sister.
This is in Ethan has a daughter.
Ethan is Ethan, you are the father.
Wow. No! Run out of the studio. I gotta get out of here. No. But yeah, we'd always make jokes that this is my mom and my sister. This movie.
Yeah.
Just that. Those moments before leaving, that search for identity. You know, and then sort of. The ending of this movie is so good too. When she's actually there and just
she's just what do I do now?
Yeah.
For somebody who's a lot of coming of age movies end with the driving off into the distance and you don't know how their life turned out, or they ended in a particular way that it gave it closure.
Yeah.
This movie ends with that extra 10 minutes where she's in college, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it just feels so realistic because it's not all great. It's not what you expected.
Yeah. I mean, on her first night at college, she goes to a party and ends up in the hospital.
Yeah.
So
can relate.
Really?
Can you?
No.
Oh.
I'm just kidding.
So what do you think of this movie, Brandon?
I don't know. It's a good film. I remember seeing it and thinking good coming of age movie. I think it's pretty good. I showed it to my mom and my sister because I thought their relationship was very similar, and it was. Growing up, it was they did not. They had this very special connection, and then as my sister got older, it was very tense in the house. And then when my sister moved away, they kind of became closer. And now they're best friends. But in this movie, you don't really see the mom and her become best friends, but it's implied that it's going to get better as a relationship. And I think that's what it's really good at capturing. Now, I can't relate to a mother-daughter relationship personally, but I think it's a great representation of it based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but the script in this movie is really great. It's tight. It's focused. I did relate to the Catholic jokes in this movie because I grew up Catholic.
So was it like leave like 3 feet for the Holy Spirit or something?
Yeah. Stuff like that. Like if you're at like a church dance, although my church was less conservative than that. But yeah, I mean, it's a very good film. Great script. Great debut for her. Very loose
fantastic.
film. Like I feel like the way she directed it, like really showed like how fun the cast was having or how emotional the cast would get because of how fun it was. They were invested.
Yeah.
And I felt invested.
It felt like a movie that wasn't like painstakingly structured through every frame. It felt like something that like they kind of like pieced together based on like the environment, the narrative, and like the characters. Like it wasn't something that was like storyboarded had painstakingly throughout. It felt very organic to me.
Yeah. Great film.
Saoirse deserves an Oscar. When will she get it?
When
She's got time.
Wait, before we move on real quick, Van, what do you think about Timothy in this film?
No.
Okay.
All right, Ethan. Next film.
My last pick is my ultimate fall movie, where I get an ecstasy of fall imagery through its themes.
Chicken Little?
And its visuals.
The sky is falling.
Close. It has chickens in it.
Charlotte's Web?
No. Wes Anderson's Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I was going to say Chicken Run, but I don't know.
Chicken Run. I don't know if that's a fall. Nah, it feels like more of a summer movie to me. Anyways, Fantastic Mr. Fox. One of my favorite films of all time. It's not my favorite Wes Anderson. We already talked about my favorite Wes Anderson. Life Aquatic. But this is my second favorite.
Ooh.
Why are you crying? What are you doing?
Why are you crying? Hey, what are you doing? Why are you crying? No, let me talk about Fantastic Mr. Fox. Yeah, I mean, come on. Just look at any single frame of that film, and you'll get all those colors that we talked about before.
True.
The oranges,
it really feels
the
like
reds. The soundtrack is a very fall soundtrack, you know? Like the old 70s, 60s, like folk music.
like Cat Stevens kind of style.
Cat Stevens stuff, you know? The background art is like, is so good. Those
beautiful, like
those
painterly
oil
style.
Yeah, it's like an oil painting background, and it's got a great voice cast. George Clooney, Bill Murray. Oh my God, why am I forgetting her name? Meryl Streep. There we go.
The woman who saved all of us.
What?
Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
She saved all of us.
Yeah.
The Iron Woman herself.
She's the goddess of the woman actresses.
Who's the?
I mean, woman actors. Sorry. My bad.
Who,
The woman.
that wasn't what we were questioning. But
That's not remotely.
okay, who's the god of male actors?
Morgan Freeman.
Wow.
I can't argue with that.
He is. He
Pretty
plays God.
He plays God.
He played God in
Yeah, I know he played God. I know
what movie?
he played God.
What's that movie?
Evan Almighty and Bruce Almighty.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Fantastic
Moving on. Back
movie.
Weird duology.
That is a great movie.
Back to Fantastic Mr. Fox. Great voice cast. This movie's one of Wes Anderson's funniest movies. Great animation. I love Wes Anderson's stop motion. It's so good. And it's a whimsical film, and it's about reflection and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's
it
about
is,
Mr. Fox coming to terms with him getting older, you know, and not being in his prime anymore. He's trying to relive that spirit by pulling off this big heist, and that gets he and his community all fucked.
Yeah.
And through that, he has to learn that he can't be a solo actor anymore. He has to work with his community to have them thrive again. And it's so good. It's a family classic of mine, you know?
Yeah.
It's a movie I can put on with my family and we'll always have a good time, like Big Lebowski or something like that. And yeah, I adore this movie. It's like this was my obvious first one. I picked when I thought fall. I was like, okay, obviously this one, but what are my other two? You know, and yeah, Fantastic Mr. Fox. What do you boys think?
Yeah, that's a great choice.
It is a very apt
It's
choice
like
for autumn.
I mean, I looked up autumn movies and I saw it, and I didn't want to pick it necessarily.
Same, yeah.
Not because I thought anybody else would pick it, but just because like I think there were better ones out there. But no, in terms of like what I'd associate,
Poggers.
just put it on the screen.
Poggers.
Put a PNG of the pog on the screen.
Put Chuck E. Cheese saying Poggers.
poggers.
All right, thank you.
I just like the colors in this movie, very orange. It's fall time, of course. It's like when they're farming, and it's a very homely movie.
Yeah.
Beautiful sets, great script, very smart, plays to all ages. It's one of those movies that like adults will love and kids will love it too. Like I thought it was weird as a kid. This is a movie we always watched in class.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was
Spanish class, dude.
Spanish class?
If I had to describe the way this movie makes me feel, it feels like a warm bowl of soup on like a cold day. It's just very
during an autumn breeze.
During an autumn breeze,
if you will.
as Brandon sits on the porch watching it go by.
Lock the doors, keep him out there. Okay, I'm done basking in this breeze. Let me in. Boom, boom,
But
boom.
yeah, I mean, like it's so warm and tender and welcoming. It just feels like it is like a very, how do I put it, like comfort food movie, I think.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know, like I'm trying to think like what else I can like say about it, but like you guys nailed it pretty hard on the head. I think like maybe one thing I can say is like I think it has a lot of like meme potential. I think there are a lot of moments where you could put in like clips from like Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack and it'll fit right in.
I know what you're saying, like the close-ups of their
Like,
faces.
Whoa.
Oh!
All right, can you play that scream right now? Thank you.
The Larva Islands.
No, not that one. I'm not doing that one. But yeah, that's my final pick. There we
good
go,
choice.
Fantastic Mr. Fox. All right, Brandon, wrap this up for us with your last pick. Okay, kids. He's standing. What is he doing?
No, I just need to get up. Whew. I haven't actually.
I forgot.
I haven't
only-
decided
I only
between my
picked
last.
two.
Come on.
I have two. I'm trying to decide.
5, 4, 3,
older or younger?
2,
Older.
1, go.
Days of Heaven.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, I was considering that one
Terrence
too.
Malick movie, yeah.
Just a beautiful movie about man's relationship with nature, and obviously it takes place mostly during the fall time when they're farming all this corn. But like you see, it's wheat or corn. I forget. It was one of the two. But it's like the way it's just so fucking peaceful, dude. Like
Yeah.
I haven't seen a movie that like put me at so much at ease, and because of like its depiction of man's relationship with nature, and that's really hard to put into words. But I remember seeing it on the big screen in our film analysis class.
Yep.
And just falling in love with it immediately, just because it was like enraptured by what was going on screen.
Mhm.
It cared about Richard Gere's character and his relationship with the family and
Yeah.
their struggle to like sort of make a living.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. I think I need to rewatch this film, first of all.
I have it.
I didn't have a good time when I watched it the first time because I think I was just having a shitty day. You know,
Yeah, same.
that happens. Fall season for you right there. But after seeing A Hidden Life, I'm like,
Oh, right.
dog, I need to go through Terrence Malick.
I
Lickety split.
don't. I think I've only seen. No, I've seen Tree of Life.
You have?
Yeah.
Bull.
And I've seen
Buggers.
this movie. Have not seen Hidden Life.
It's
Did he direct anything else like that's like I might have seen?
what did he do? I'm pretty. He did
doubt
he did a war movie,
Night of Cups.
Night of
Was it
Cups.
Night of
him?
Cups, but I've heard it's not good.
Oh, okay.
But you know, with Terrence Malick, his later work is very like some people love it and
Mhm.
some people hate it.
Right.
So like
It's almost like is Tree of Life everyone calls that his magnum opus like universally.
I think it's okay, but the reason why I think it's good is like the technical feat. I didn't really get much from the story personally.
I
Yeah.
haven't seen it yet.
Very beautiful. There's like
It's a
45-minute sequence
of
that
just
Yeah.
ethereal images.
you need to.
Speaking
see
of
that.
an ethereal sequence, the fire scene.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh, gorgeous.
That shit is sublime. He
It
is a
is-
sublime director.
Yeah.
Let me just say that.
I like there
He
are
understands how to shoot nature.
Yeah.
That's true. There are very few films in I'm gonna take us into the cine world for a second.
Mhm.
There are very few films that are like universally known among cinematographers as like perfectly shot classics. Like you have obvious ones like Lawrence of Arabia, In the Mood for Love,
Mhm.
Blade Runner, and then but Days of Heaven falls into that list as well. And I do remember watching it, and even though I do have some problems with the film, and I'm sure I might if I rewatched it, I might have a newfound
Reconsider.
appreciation for it.
Yeah, me too.
The cinematography is absolutely fucking gorgeous in this film.
Oh, yeah.
I can't get over it. And I've never met a DP who has disliked this movie's
I
cinematography.
think it's the framing and the editing. And it's very quiet, like, and I can understand why audiences don't like it.
Right.
Because, like, it's very slow, it's very drawn out.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like I really was in the story. I was in that world, and maybe it's the cine doing that to me rather.
It's very transportive.
Right.
I really feel like I'm on that farm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. There's this one shot, I don't know how to describe it. It's a wide of the house in the distance and people just standing in the field, and those like bugs are flying up.
Yeah.
And they all look up at the same time. And that's like perfect like synchronization between what's happening on the screen and what's being shot. It's perfect.
Ooh.
Breathtaking.
Bad pick, good movie. Just kidding.
What?
Bad pick, good movie.
What?
Bad pick, good.
Can I just
No.
I love this new meme of bad pick, good movie.
It's just like it's because it was Sally Gardner at the Gallup,
Sally Gardner at the Gallup.
and then Brandon actually likes that movie because like Brandon really
he's a fucking twisted psychopath.
Well, Brandon appreciates the historical significance of that film, which I appreciate as well.
Also, it's very transportive.
It is the first movie ever.
It's just a horse.
Yeah, but
Grow up.
do you like horses?
No.
Do you want to see where the horse is at today?
I know what you're thinking. You showed me this earlier.
Is it the car?
Yes.
I'm not. I fucking hate that video. I got my horses in the front.
Not in the back.
Do I
I
dare
got my
show the
horse.
video? No,
No,
I can't.
censor
The
it.
video get taken down. All right.
Anyway, what were we talking? Oh yeah, movies.
So stacked podcast. Anyways, that's all of our films.
I think.
Shall we run it?
Let's run it down. Let's run it down before we get to figuring out what our final stack's gonna be. So Chris, start us off.
My films are 500 Days of Summer, Edge of 17, and Lady Bird.
My 3 films are Rashomon, Good Will Hunting, and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
My 3 films are Good Will Hunting, Dead Poets Society, and Days of Heaven.
All right. So Good Will Hunting.
We know Good Will Hunting's gonna make it.
Now, I'm gonna fight to the end that Fantastic Mr. Fox has to be on this.
Well, I'm not going to fight you.
Okay.
I will allow that.
All right, then I'll let you two.
So, Brandon, I will fight you for any of my 3 films, to be honest. I think they're all valid as autumn films.
No.
You agreed with me throughout every pick I made. You just kept saying, yeah, this is a great movie, Autumn. I love it. It's beautiful.
Too similar.
What?
Too similar.
Yeah. Okay, what we got here?
We've got 500 Days of Summer.
Okay, we got a traditional drama.
Non-linear.
I like one of Chris's films to be on this list because it is sort of like a different genre of fall that we haven't done yet. You
Like the
know,
coming of
Dead
age.
Poets Society would be like Good Will Hunting. Days of Heaven would be like Fantastic Mr.
No,
Fox.
it would not. You are crazy. You are an insane man.
I couldn't say that. I couldn't even say that straight.
Please pitch that to someone. Like one day he's like, listen, these 2 movies are fucking same.
No,
Okay.
what was that? What we were talking about? Oh yeah, we were talking about. Chris was trying to film a movie with the same lens as Parasite.
Oh.
And we were imagining the scenario where Chris would pitch his movies, where he's like, okay, so the movie's like Parasite, but only because we're using the same lens. It's a completely different movie, and that's how you start the pitch.
And then Ethan, we tell him your idea for the greatest camera rig.
Oh yeah, so how to get a good camera rig for a movie if you're on a budget. So step 1, grab a lens from Parasite, the lens, that one.
Yeah, the only
That
one.
incredibly
Step 2
expensive one.
Step 2, grab a roll of duct tape. Step 3, grab a Nintendo 3DS. Step 4, tape.
Glue.
Wrap around the lens around the 3DS. Make sure it's all nice and tight, and you'll get a good picture. I guarantee it. And it might be in 3D. That's kind of cool. All right. Anyways,
Days of Heaven is not the same as Fantastic Mr. Fox, nor is it the same as.
it
Good
might
Will
have the
Hunting.
same lens though, so pretty similar.
I think 500 Days or Lady Bird. I think Edge of 17 falls behind between the 3. I don't know.
Personally, out of the ones that I've seen of yours, Chris, I think Lady Bird's my favorite.
You mean the one that you said? I'm down for Lady Bird. I think that's a very.
Brandon, would you be okay with Lady Bird?
Because we've done coming of age, so I don't know where else.
We got coming of age for a man. We got coming of age for a woman.
Let's do it.
And then coming of age for a fox man and woman.
Okay.
But what order?
Can you make that our YouTube link description?
Yeah. Let's do Fantastic Mr. Fox first. Sort of like the first thing you think of when you think of the fall season, you know?
It's very traditional in its sense of like the aesthetic.
And now, do we want to have a really emotional end with a woman or a really emotional end with a man?
I think Lady Bird leaves you in contemplation a lot more than Good Will Hunting does at the by the end of its film. So basically, do we want the film to end? I think Lady Bird should end it because that leaving the audience with that sense of thought, contemplation, and just kind of like, what do I do now? And just keep reflecting. That is very much what Autumn is.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. I'm okay with that. What about you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You like that?
Yeah, so what we got our order?
Yeah, okay. So it's gonna be Fantastic Mr. Fox, Good Will Hunting, and Lady Bird. Thanks, Peter Griffin. Alright, let's run it down, shall we?
Nice.
Nice. So this is Stack's official 2020 fall autumn season final stack. Starting off with Wes Anderson's 2009 film, Fantastic Mr. Fox, an instant classic animated film that just screams the fall time and the autumn season by just taking even a single still out of this film. You'll know what time of the year it is.
What time it is.
You'll know what exact time of day it is when you look at a single still of this film. You're like, okay, I'm a master at sundials and sun positions. This bit is stupid. I'm ending it. Fantastic Mr. Fox.
All right. Our second film is Good Will Hunting, a great coming-of-age movie that not only takes place in the most quintessential area for fall, the East Coast, but also a great film that captures the melancholy coming-of-age nature of fall.
And our final film is Greta Gerwig's 2017 directorial debut, Lady Bird, a comedy drama following the story of a girl in the senior year of her high school. And it's a film about parenting, friendship, and an existential sense of self, and leaves you pondering, where do I go next by the end of its runtime.
Excellent. And that's the episode, everyone.
Woo!
There it is. There's your fall movies. I think that would be a good little triple feature to have there.
Cozy up by the fire.
By fire.
Get a blanket.
Turn on the AC outside. Get a good autumn breeze going.
Outside
yeah.
Oh, autumn breeze.
To create the autumn breeze, put on a fan.
Brandon will come to your porch.
He won't come inside. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I'll be knocking on the window and be like, "Can you let me?"
Hey, I just want to let you know I'm here. I'm here for the breeze. And yeah. All right, Brandon.
We ended it. We started the episode with a breeze. So should we end it?
I think we should end it with a little political update.
Oh.
Let's check.
Jeb Bush won the presidency.
Jeb.